Oh, guys, hold on. Kevin Holland's walking to the ring. Hold on. You got to bear with me. The words stop. I need to watch a guy walk to the ring. There's 2 athletes in the entire sport. I would use that. Kevin's dancing. Okay. There's 2 guys in the whole sport I would have to say that about. MVP and Kevin Holland. He walks to the ring cool. He does things in the ring cool. So try to picture this. They're at the apex. There's no fans. So who's he dancing for? Who's he trying to hype up and get on their feet? Man, nobody. He's entertaining himself. I think it's so fascinating, but this is how he calms himself. You're going to see when this fight gets, and I got to watch it with the volume down. This is content owned by the, I can't play the volume for you guys or show you any kind of images, but he'll be talking. Kevin Holland's going to talk. He's going to talk to Brunson. The reason for that is not to get into Brunson's head. That's what they're going to lead you to believe. That's an aspect of it, but that's not the reason. The reason Holland talks to his opponents is that's how he sends a message to himself. That's how he resets. We're playing. We're having fun. This isn't as scary as what it should be under the unified rules, locked in here with a trained killer in a steel cage on a Saturday night. He's resetting himself. He's dancing right now. I don't know what else to tell you. Kevin Holland is the only one in the ring. Bruce Buffer is not in the ring yet. Kevin Holland is dancing. Brunson is now at the stairs, getting ready to walk in. All right, Brunson's got his earpiece in. He's taking them out. He's doing a little unzip to a mouthpiece. We're likely going to have to go into that hug fest that's disgusting, that somebody else did 20 years ago, and now all the guys think they have to hug the guys in the back. I would tell my team that in the back. We do our last hugs in the back, and I would tell Clayton Hires the same thing. Not when we get to the cage. The next person I touch, I'm going to destroy. And it's not going to be one of you guys. Oh, sure enough. Oh, here, round the horn we go. Oh, and I got a hug for you. Oh, here, lean and bring it in. There you go. All right. I mean, each fight times 3 hugs. 11 fights on the card, 22 walks, 22 times 3. Nobody knows what that math is, but that sounds like about 66 hugs. I really didn't come here to watch that. I mean, in all fairness, right? Weird complaint by me. I really didn't come here to watch that, particularly when it's predicated on the idea that some other jobber did it 20 years ago, and you thought he was cool, or somebody who stole it from him you thought was cool. So now you got to stop with that. Just stop. All right. I must tell you, Brunson looks good. And I'm picking Holland in this fight, but that doesn't mean I'm cheering for Holland, by the way. I'm just picking Holland. I think there's something to this looseness. Holland has some problems tonight. First off, he's got Derek Brunson. That's a problem. Moreover, Holland has to prove himself in championship rounds. I realize as the audience, that gets thrown at you a lot. And it probably is in one ear, next out the net. And you're probably what does it matter? The better fighter's going to win. It's a different fight. It's a different sport when you change the time in many ways. The 5-round club is a very rare club. There are not very many human beings alive that have done it. There are fighters that have fought their whole life and maybe just didn't make it to a main event where they were scheduled for 5 rounds. I'm just sharing for you the amount of people who've actually done it. Who have actually gone. There are champions of the world who have never gone 5 rounds. The 25-round club is a very rare thing, and it is a fair question to always wonder, how is he going to do? And there's not a way to prepare. You see a guy get tired, 20, 25 minutes, there's nothing he can do or that he did wrong. People will top out. You'll have plenty of coaches that tell you that's not true. You can reach a peak performance where you simply can't break through that. You could learn that in a mile run about yourself. You get that mile down to 9 minutes, 8 minutes, 7 minutes. You start coming in real close to 6 minutes. It's never going to hit the 5s for some people. And you can work on it, do it over and over. You could go to a 2-mile run or a 3-mile run, try to break 14 minutes, try to break 21 minutes. I'm just sharing for you. You will reach your peak performance, and you just don't know where a guy's at. He could do everything right and be a tough guy. You don't know until he gets into these championship rounds. They're relevant. I just want to bring that to you so that you can understand why when you hear somebody talk about, well, the championship rounds, and I think the championship rounds are going to favor Tony Ferguson because he's a big cardio guy. It's real. It's a real thing. You're splitting hairs. But it's also a question that no one can answer, including the athlete, until he does it. He can say all of the right things. He doesn't know it about himself. And if you go back and think of some of your favorite fighters, go back, look their record up. Most of them will have never been scheduled for 5 rounds. I mean, they had to make it to the pinnacle, right? Main event or the title fight. However, even the ones that were, you will be stunned how few are actually in the club. 25-minute club's a rare thing. All right. Kevin Holland has changed his hair slightly. Brunson has the blonde hair, which he's done a number of times. Both look lean. Bruce Buffer giving him the final announcement. Holland is saying something in Brunson's direction. Brunson is ignoring it. Brunson has got his game face on. And we're about underway. By the way, I'm going to look down in this comment section. Really, if you guys know about this Ortega, if you know what happened here, because somebody was tipped off, and it wasn't me. Somebody was tipped off to throw this up on the screen ahead of time and not have that fight list. I don't know if that was the announcement or if it came out earlier. It was the first time I saw it. All right, Herb Dean. Ryan, what?
Volkanovski has COVID.
Volkanovski has COVID. So Herb Dean in charge of this one, which is always a good sign. If you're a fighter and you get a main event, you see old Herb in there, one thing less you got to worry about. Oh, no touch of the gloves. Oh, wait a minute. I don't know if Holland was trying to touch gloves. Holland's holding a straight hand out. I thought it was for a touch of gloves, but he never took it down. And I don't know if that was to look cool because he didn't get but he's actually holding it out like he was doing what John Jones does, where you keep him at bay here. If Holland just got stiffed on a high five, he just played it off the coolest that I've ever seen. Oh, Holland's down. Brunson swarming. Holland used those long legs, wrapped around him, and pulled him down. Holland is in guard. Holland is using the guard for the number one reason that the guard exists, which is not to finish a fight. It is to protect yourself when you're in a precarious position. What I'm talking about is Holland has his legs fully wrapped, and he's pulling his opponent tight, and he's locked his arms as tight as you can around the head, and he's pulling Brunson down tight. If Brunson's head is on Holland, whether they're head-to-head or it's the head on the chest, if your opponent who's on top's head is on you, on bottom, you've done your job. Finishing a fight is secondary and much closer to third and fourth in dairy. Okay, you don't want him doing damage. If you keep that head on you, he can't do damage, which means Brunson's job adversely, get that head off him. Create spaces. The more the head comes up, the more power you got. All right, Holland's fully recovered, and I think Brunson knows it. Brunson swarmed him right when he knocked him down, but Brunson's settling in here. Holland's guard I'm very curious of. I'd love to work out with Holland to feel this guard so I could articulate this to you guys better. But when you have length and you know how to use it, Tony Ferguson would be a fine example. I realize Tony's a lot like Mr. Tall, but Tony's tall for that division, but he knows how to use it. He knows how to use those legs to create space. You power your way back up. Boom, he's got an elbow waiting for you. Holland's looking for an armbar. Brunson recovered. That's what I'm talking about. Holland just went for an armbar. He was probably 50% of the way there, which isn't all that far. I can't remember anybody else getting that close to an armbar on Brunson. I can't remember anybody getting closer than 10%, but Holland can swing those hips. He's long and he knows how to use it. He's doing it right now. Brunson's still ground and pounding, but Brunson's using a lot of energy here. Could be part of Holland's strategy. Man, if Holland might go, okay, get a little bit out of you. Holland's got a body triangle on now from guard. So there's not a submission you're going to find there. If a guy ever has his guard closed, there's two submissions that exist. He can do a Kimura or he can do a guillotine. There is no other submission created. And all the time they've had to create submissions, there's no other submission created when the guard is closed. So that's a clue to the top guy. The top guy now knows, is my neck in jeopardy? Is my hand on the mat? Because if they're not, I'm safe until he opens. All right. Holland opened, but he reclosed. This is tight. A body triangle from bottom is very rare. Again, this comes back to the length of Holland. He can do it. It's very rare. One, that a guy can do it. Two, that he elects to do it. Because you are signifying to your opponent, I'm not looking to submit you. I'm looking to hold you close, make sure you don't damage me, and let you burn energy. Both fighters are detectives the whole time. You're doing your detective work. You're constantly taking notes of what is he doing. On your feet, it's a major guessing game. On the ground, when a guard is closed, you have your answers. He's looking to defend and protect himself. All right, Brunson's on top here. Brunson's doing a good job. I must tell you, I'm coming at this from Holland's perspective. Brunson is winning the round, not to mention he had a knockdown, and not to mention he's keeping everything tight. It can be very tough if you're wanting to be on top of a guy, but you're not damaging or passing. It can be very tough because now you got to deal with the referee. You don't just have to deal with your opponent trying to do things to you or stop you from doing things. You got to deal with the referee. You got to be doing enough. You got to be busy enough. And this is the game. If Holland can just pull him down tight, not only reduce the damage he's absorbing, but if he can make it dull enough, he can make the referee do his job, which is to bring it back up to the feet. So there's multiple games being played here. And I'm talking to you from a guy that spent a lot of time in the top position. You've got to think about this. There's things you have to do per the unified rules. I have observed, all right, they're rolling around here. Holland coming up to his feet. Holland's to his feet. I have observed since the time that we've been fighting in empty arenas. All right, that round is over. So, guys, I'm talking with Ryan here, and he was talking to me about Holland talking. I can't talk to you guys. I got the volume down, so I didn't know that. What was he saying, Ryan? Anything good? Oh, Brunson was talking back to him. Oh, that's great. Good for Brunson. That's a point for Brunson in my book. If Brunson was able to deal with that and show he could by doing it back to him. Look, if there's one thing in a fight that a guy's doing to you, let me give you guys another piece of the psychology of a fight. If a guy is doing something to you in a fight, do it back to him. He'll stop. If a guy's hitting you with a jab him back. The guy pulls your hair, pull his hair. By example, if a guy does something to you that you don't want him to do it back to him. He'll stop. It's very interesting. We'll see if I'm right in this case. Brunson was talking back to Holland's yelling at somebody right now. Ryan, who's he yelling at?
Khabib.
Oh, he's yelling at Khabib. All right. Friendly or? All right, he's being friendly to Khabib, guys. I'm watching this on volume down. Let me get back to the X's and O's here. They're lined up in the middle here. Brunson just threw some heat at him with a hand, followed up by an opposite side head kick. Neither with a lot of damage. Brunson's doing a good job of staying out of range. Holland looking to distract with these kicks, and he is distracting with the kicks. Brunson's not having it, man. Brunson's very prepared for this match. The physical warfare and the verbal, mental, psychological. Brunson's ready. Brunson looks great. Brunson just did what I was talking about. Holland was throwing kicks at him. Brunson didn't like it, so Brunson threw a weird kick at him. They're clinched up now. That favors Brunson, but Brunson's going to have to do something with it. They're clinched up. Wrestler's body lock right in the center. Okay, they broke. Brunson connected. Holland turned around. Brunson hit him, and Holland did a 360. Okay. Oh, Holland's connecting hard. 3 in a row. 4 in a row. Brunson's down. 5 in a row. Brunson came up, and Holland clipped him again. Brunson's in on a shot. He's got a single, though. Singles are dangerous. Singles are very dangerous. They're very rare, unless your name is Chris Weidman. There are not very many fighters ever, particularly main event guys, that can finish a single leg, aside from Chris Weidman. All right, Brunson absorbed those shots, and it looked like he was hurt. Got back to a clinch, drug Holland down to the mat. Wonder what Holland's saying now. Brunson doing a good job of swarming. Oh my goodness, Brunson has transitioned. Brunson's in a full mount. Now he doesn't have to worry about the referee. If you're in a full mount, you do not have to worry about a referee. That's a broad stroke. Referee can interpret things and do anything he wants. I've never seen a fight ever stopped and broken for inactivity when one guy's in a mount. No matter how dull he's being, the referee goes, man, you're in a dominant position. I'm not going to stop you here. There's a fight years ago, Elite XC. I want to say Andrei Arlovsky was in it. And the guy was in side control, and the referee broke it and stood it up. Absolutely had never been done before. And the guy that he let up off the bottom came back and knocked the guy out. I want to say that was Arlovsky. But I can't remember what side Andre was on. If Andre got knocked out or he was the guy at bottom and popped up. All right, Brunson's still on top here. Now he's in side control. Holland's partly recovered. But Brunson's squeezing. Brunson's trying to find an arm triangle himself. Brunson's got to get his head all the way to the mat. If he gets it all the way to the mat, it completely changes the squeeze. It completely changes how tight it is. And until he has his head on the mat, he's very unlikely to finish this. But this is a precarious position. This is not, make no mistake, you don't want to be where Holland's at right now. Holland's being tough. Holland's being very tough and very patient. And this becomes a game. If you don't tap right away, then it becomes an air choke, not a blood choke, which means you can hang in there longer, which now becomes a game of, if you're in Brunson's spot, how long can you keep that grip? You guys ever try that? Just try that at home. Get a grip as tight as you possibly can and then keep it going. You'll feel your muscles fatigue very quickly. Very quickly. And you'll hold that grip as tight as you can, less than 10 seconds. You will feel, oh my gosh, I'm getting weaker. My arms are getting tired. All right, back to their feet, and Brunson's already back in. I respect what Brunson's doing. He's realized wrestling is what works. Don't stand on my feet with this guy. I can pass his guard a little bit. I can put up with some of these submissions. Look, if something works once in a fight, go back to it all night long. And boxers do a better job with what I just said than we see MMA guys do. If a boxer lands a 1 to the head, a 2 to the body, and a hook back to the head, he will go back to that combo 1, 2, 3, all night long. And MMA guys tend to not. I got to mix it up. I got to be excited. I got to show more of this. If something works, go back to it all night. Right? With the theory being very obvious. If he can't stop it now, it's not as though he has a training camp. It's not as though he gets to practice stopping it. We're live. He's going to stop it first round. He's not going to stop it the second round. But we will see some fighters get away from that. Go out, have their way with a guy on a feet, and all of a sudden take him down. You go, what are you doing? All right, this round is in, man. These are fast rounds. They must be having a fun fight because these rounds are like that. We are 10 minutes into this thing, and I feel like I just sat down with you guys. They're spending a lot of time on the ground, but there must be something fun. I must be enjoying something. Did you guys see the girls fight earlier? Those girls did not like each other. I must tell you. Very end of the fight, if you don't know what I'm talking about, very end of the fight, girl on top starts yelling at girl on bottom. Girl on bottom pie faces girl on top as she gets up to her feet, and they both start giving the middle finger to each other. And I'm going, will somebody fill me in? Will somebody fill me in on what is happening and why? Why it's happening? What upset? I don't think I've ever been upset with somebody at the end of a fight that went to a decision. Or them upset with me. You've used all you don't have the energy to be upset. All right, Holland's smiling. They're coming out for the third round. I was talking to you guys about championship rounds and this being a question for Holland. This is what traditionally would be in Kevin Holland's life, the final round of the fight. But he's smiling. He doesn't look like a guy that's fatigued. Holland switching his stance here. Led with a big hook followed by a straight. Brunson was out of the way. Brunson's understanding range really well. Really, really well. Brunson took one flurry from Holland, but Brunson's staying out of the way, and when he wants to get in clinch, he's coming all the way in. That's one of the most basic strategies, and I call it a basic because it goes back to day one. This is Royce Gracie 101. Lots of space or no space, but no in between. I'm all the way over here. or I'm right on top of you. All right, Brunson's in. Brunson's got another takedown. Holland's switching to an armbar here. It looks like he's loose. He is. Brunson pulled out. Holland is game, though. Holland is clearly losing this fight, but there's not one spot of this fight that he's backed down. He's not stopping trying to win. He has not conceded anything. It's very visible. We're not even halfway through. He has lost every minute in every round of this fight, but you have just as many still left as we got done. Yeah, trying to base their energy is tough. It's tough because Holland's got this fit. You never know, right? He's out there playing poker. He's smiling. You don't know how he feels inside. On the outside, he's showing you or trying to portray, I feel great. Brunson, on the other hand, is a little bit more stoic, a little bit more serious, but Brunson also has a game plan that's clearly working. Holland's got a guess, and Holland's on the defense. Right? It's a dance. One guy leads. Brunson's leading, which means Holland's got to go to plan B here. One thing that Holland is doing here in this third round is he's not controlling the upper body in this guard, which means Brunson, when he wants to, can sit up and create space, land some good shots. I would suspect that Brunson, who's on top, worked hard to get here and has had good success, wants to stay here. Which means going through his mind isn't just try to win these moments, try to impress the judges. It's also, I need to advance to assure myself, Herb Dean in this case, the referee, isn't going to bring us up. I bring that to you because I wonder if you ever think at home, oh, the guy on top, he's got everything made, or he's out there resting. I've heard the guy on top before called a wet blanket. Man, it doesn't matter how little it appears a guy is doing. You're using every part of your body when you're on top. Same as the guy on bottom, in all fairness. But the guy on top, you're using your toes are digging into the mat. Your knees, you're using your hips at all time. Your arms are working. Your mind's thinking, and there's a lot that goes on top. And particularly if you want to stay there. And you know when there's not a ton of action. You know when you're not connecting hard. That's where Brunson's at. Holland doesn't appear to have any part of his game plan to stand up. And I must tell you, I saw this same thing with Holland when he fought Jacare. Even though things worked out in the Jacare fight, I found it concerning. I'll define concerning as this. If I'm one of Holland's cornermen, even if we win the fight against Jacare, when we get in the back and talk about what needs to be different, I'm going to bring that up. Hey, you got to get off the bottom. Forget about this brown belt business. The number of guys who submit somebody at this level is very small. We need you to get up. You got to get up. You got to be digging underhooks, getting your hip down, pushing them off, bring the foot in front, create some space, hit a back roll if you have to, bring the knee in front, create some space, straight arm his head and push him away. There's only 3 ways to get up. Holland is doing none of those. And in fairness, he didn't do that with Jacare either. If you guys remember that Jacare fight, Holland was on bottom, knocked Jacare out. You guys remember that? He started hitting him, then he sat up and caught him. I'm not seeing Holland. Not only am I not seeing Holland get up, Holland has not tried to get up. That's what I'm speaking to. That's where what comes alarming. He is on bottom trying only to submit. You got to play 3 games on bottom. You got the submission game, then you got like a Tony Ferguson style, bring Tony back into it, where you're pounding the guy as well. But then you also have to have what we call the get up, which means you get up. But all 3 of those have to be playing. If you want to find a submission, you got to, okay, referee stepped in and broke it. No, that was the round again. All right. Again, we're flying through here, guys. I feel like I've said 2 or 3 words to you, and these rounds are done. Referee stepping and broke it. I thought it was for inactivity. It's not. Round 3 is done. Round 3 is done, which means we're going into championship round. So here's the big question with Kevin Holland. But I do want to bring this criticism up. It's a very fair criticism that regardless of what happens in the next 10 minutes of this fight, does not matter if Kevin Holland comes back, finds a way to win. Which to do that, number 1, he's going to have to stop this takedown. Number 1, he's going to have to stop this takedown. But number 2, when he's getting down, he's not trying to get up. If you're going to find a submission, you're going to have to offer something else. You're going to have to offer the threat of getting up. You're going to have to offer the distraction of strikes from the bottom. If you're going to get strikes from the bottom, You have to offer the threat of a submission, which is what makes the guy come back down and try to hold you tight. You have to offer all three or you're going to find none. Holland is very clearly right now only looking for a submission, which again, and I come to you with a black belt in jiu-jitsu. If you just look at the numbers, guys are not getting submitted by a guy on their back. They're just not. It's just, that's a very broad stroke. You could certainly find where they are. They're just not. It's extremely rare. It was never designed to submit a guy. Even Hoist Gracie, who started this and brought every idea that any of us have, did not like the round system. As soon as the round system came in and you broke, became very problematic to his style. Jiu-jitsu was never designed, ever, not even on day one, to win fights from the bottom. All right. Holland's going for it, but Brunson knows what he needs to do. Brunson knows he needs to get close. Brunson's throwing some heat when he needs to as well. Which again is a lot of what I just talked about from the bottom. You have three things that you can do, but if you want any of them to work, you need to offer the other two. Brunson wants takedowns. For takedowns to work, he has to offer good strikes, and he is. Brunson's throwing some heat here. Brunson's already behind him. They're on their feet right now, but Brunson's got his back. Brunson's dropping down to a double. Holland looking for a Kimura. They're down to the ground, and now Brunson's in side control. This is a great spot. Brunson can bring his left knee in nice and tight, put that on the hip, and relax for a moment. Side control is a great spot to be in the fourth round. Great chance to catch your breath, to regroup, to not have to worry about the referee, but you also don't have to worry about submissions from there. It's a great spot. Holland didn't let it last. Holland's already scrambled. Brunson's now in full guard. A full closed guard, right? I'm giving you guys tips here. If you don't, you've never heard an announcer say this. If you're fighters, and it sounds like I'm condescending, I'm being so obvious. But if you're not, I'm giving you a huge clue that you wouldn't have known. In all the fights that you watched, did you know that? If your guard is closed, there's two submissions created that you can do. Guillotine, which means you got to have the guy's neck, and a Kimura, which you're going to get it when the guy puts his hand on the mat. So if you're the top guy, he's got a closed guard. My neck's fine. He's got to catch that on the way down. If I don't put my hand on, I have nothing to worry about. It's very relevant. If you're a viewer at home and you're watching a guy with a closed guard, he's got two submissions he can do. Other than that, and he can't get up. He not only can't submit you, he can't escape with a closed guard. Now, he can unlock that thing and go to something else pretty quick, but that's just what you're paying attention to. You feel right where that lock is. You feel where the pressure of his knees is. You're the whole time. Oh, he's closed still. He's closed. He's closed. Okay, great. Body, head. Oh, he opened it. All right, now I need to be more careful. I bring that to you because if you're attempting to guess what's going to happen here in this round for Kevin Holland, Kevin does not have an underhook and he's not seeking one, which is the first thing he's going to have to stand up. His legs are closed in a closed guard, which means he can't submit. So if you're cheering for Kevin Holland, I'm here to tell you in the fourth round, your guy's not trying to get up and he's not trying to submit. You form your own decision on that, but it's a strategy that is not going to be conducive of success. This is the nicest way I can say it. Brunson's arms are open. Holland has an opportunity here to dig an underhook and get up. I don't believe it's a technique that he knows. It does not appear to be. He's not looked for it all night, and it's there. I'm not attempting to be so hard on Holland. I'm a little bit surprised, and Holland is going to need to learn from this fight. All right, Holland's turned around, giving up his back, but went over to the fence, came up to his feet. Brunson's behind him, tight. Holland's turning to face him. Oh, Holland's going to make this interesting still. Holland's back to his feet. He's got to separate. They're chest to chest with Holland's back up against the fence. Relevance chest to chest. There's no space. There's not going to be a knockout from here. And that's what Holland's going to need. Holland's going to have to finish this fight. Brunson came into this so disciplined, man. I got to give Brunson some credit. He's so disciplined on what he needs to do, and you are not talking him out of it. Holland is now smiling. He's still having some level of low anxiety, which I can tell you, is that a good thing? I don't know. Is it a cool thing? Yeah, it's kind of cool to watch Kevin Holland out there, the way that he's handling his first night in championship rounds. As far as his skill set in combination with his strategy, we got some stuff to work on. As far as his showmanship and his ability to go out there and compete, man, this he's great. He's 4 rounds down, but I'm seeing some real promise from Kevin Holland. This guy's got incredible potential. Strategically, yeah, you're not going to win a fight from the bottom, Kev. Chael, how can you say that? I've won fights from the bottom. Stop. Those guys want it out. There's a big difference in submitting a guy and a guy wanting to be done. Coach Khabib was giving him some tips between rounds. I haven't the foggiest idea what he would say, but I would be curious. And I'd be curious what their relationship was. Is Khabib just happen to be talking to him because that's where his seat is? And he saw something he could use, or do these guys know each other? I don't know. I just find Khabib so interesting. Like anything Khabib's doing, I kind of stop. what I'm doing. I look in that direction. I find Khabib to be an interesting character. All right, they're back toe-to-toe here. Guys, I must tell you, Kevin Holland has not only lost every round, he's lost every minute of this fight. He doesn't have big power to start with. There's still a part of me that thinks Kevin Holland's going to win this fight. I mean, I got to tell you, the guy's crazy. He does crazy things. I don't know what he could do to Brunson at this point. You know, it's not as though Holland's like Mr. Pat any second now. I mean, he's going to have to put a string of punches together, but there's still something within me. It's dimming. I mean, the writing's on the wall here, but it exists. I'm not ready to tell you this fight's over. I'm just not. And they're in the open right now. Brunson still knows what he needs to do. On their feet, stay out of range. When he's ready to close the distance, close it all the way. But he hasn't closed it yet. He's still in a little bit of a danger spot. And they're clinched up right now. Clinched up right now. What Brunson's doing so well is once he gets his hands locked, he's going just to an outside trip and dragging Holland down. But some of that is willingness by Holland. There appears to be a naiveness by Holland that he can win a high-level fight from his back. So what I'm talking about is Holland's not offering as much resistance as I believe he could. I think Holland's a little bit better at defense than he's showing. All right, Holland just hit an inside trip. Holland is on top. Brunson has gone to a closed guard and is pulling Holland down, but you got to understand, Brunson's playing a different game. Brunson doesn't have to beat Holland. All Brunson has to beat at this point is the clock. So Brunson is playing a different game right now. Brunson has underhooks. I was preaching to that earlier. You got to have an underhook before you can stand up. Brunson has underhooks and is a damn good wrestler. Brunson could stand up. He's choosing not to. He's choosing to stay down. I take a couple shots to the rib, but I'm competing against the clock right now. I like it. Everything Brunson's done tonight, physically, but also strategically. This is a real veteran. You're seeing the difference. To use the line from Corey Anderson, there's levels to this. Brunson is showing one of the veteran plays. Brunson is showing what he's learned from his experiences. Fighting very smart. All right, Holland just did the old pick up, slam him down. Brunson relocked his hands. Grab that head, pull it right down to his chest. These shots aren't going to be damaging. They're not going to be fight ending. Which again comes back. Brunson's just got to beat the clock. One thing Brunson could do from here, if you guys happen to be watching, Brunson's on his back and guard. If Brunson really wants to hold that, take one of his hands off the head and just come grab his own shin. I mean, don't forget, his opponent is somewhere in this circle. Go make that circle, so grab your own shin. You'll eat this position up. You'll eat that position up. He won't go anywhere. Oh, boy. Holland just sat up and landed 2 huge shots and then jumped back and let Brunson up. Holland's best 2 shots of the night, he just landed from top and then jumped off and let Brunson up. Brunson's now chased him down, pushed him right back into the fence. Brunson drug him down to the mat. Brunson, he is dead set on what he's going to do. And to keep that focus for 25 minutes, I mean, that's Kamaru Usman level stuff. Nobody keeps their focus for all 25 minutes. At some point, you got to reset. Brunson has never needed to even hit the reset. Discipline, mentally tough. Brunson is showing. He's showing not only his experience in his rounds, he's showing that he learned from those experiences. All right, Holland trying to play the game off the fence here, trying to walk the fence a little bit. Which I love. I love when a guy can do that. I don't give a damn if it's Showtime Pettis running up it and turn it into a kick, or if it's a guy using it to rotate his body to go to a submission. I love when a guy knows where he is. The apparatus is so relevant if you know how to use it. Holland looks great, by the way. I'm being a little hard on Holland. He just doesn't have the same experience. It's as simple as that. They're both very good fighters. In some ways, they were a wash. I mean, Holland's got great jiu-jitsu. Brunson had great chop control. This was an experience game. This fight's over. I don't have a damn thing to tell you guys. Normally is when I would come sit down and go, so guys, let me tell you about this fight. But we just saw that thing together, and I got to tell you right now, round 1, round 2, round 3, round 4, round 5, they look the same. Holland has to come away. And I can't be polite about that. I got to be a little critical about this. You're not going to win a high-level fight from your back. And not only are you not going to do it, nobody does. Before you think I'm going to be the first, look, numbers matter. We have to study. We have to learn from other guys and from the sport. You do not win high-level fights from your back. Nobody does. Nobody does. Jiu-jitsu's just not that effective. It's effective. I'm saying it's not that effective. It's an element of it. You must stand up. You must scramble. And people miss this with the single greatest jiu-jitsu practitioner the sport has today, which is Damian Maia. And people, even jiu-jitsu people, guys, I am one. I promote jiu-jitsu events. I have a black belt in jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu, but I'm being critical in this one regard, which is even Damian Maia, even from the jiu-jitsu community, people will watch him and go, yes, jiu-jitsu still works. Pure level jiu-jitsu. Oh, I told you. This is it. This works. Maia doesn't do that. You guys know so little about it. Even your own damn community, you will talk about Maia and you will misrepresent what he's doing. Maia does not win fights from his back. Maia goes down and he instantly gets a reversal. He's now on top. And your brain doesn't catch up with your eyes because you don't want to work hard to get on top. It's easy to lay on bottom. It's very hard to get a reversal. It's very hard to scramble. It's very, very, very hard to stand up. It requires effort, which takes practice. So even the community of grapplers will talk about Damian Maia and they'll misrepresent what Maia's doing. Maia would not agree with you. Maia won't agree with you. You got to get on top. Nobody's winning a fight from their back, particularly in a main event. My nobody was a broad stroke to start with. When I start to get into a main event, boy, that broad stroke starts to get a lot finer pointed. Holland has got to learn to stand up. That's okay. That's okay. That's not Chael's job. His coach has got to talk to him about that, though. And they're going to need to support it and back it up with what Chael is saying, which is just the mere statistics and the numbers. And even a guy like Tony Ferguson, who will cut you up, he's got a black belt under Eddie Bravo, but he'll cut you up. He will make you guess. If he can't cut you up and he can't submit you, get an underhook and get his ass back to his feet. I'm sharing that with you because I will see people that are these diehard jiu-jitsu players and they'll attempt to turn to some other jiu-jitsu guy and go, well, look, he did it. No, Tony Ferguson has a black belt, but he's dropping elbows. He's getting underhooks. Bring up Ferg. You look at Fabricio Verdum. He's going to be doing the dirtiest jiu-jitsu there ever was. Verdum's going to push you this way, hit you here, elbow you in the chest, and then he's going to find the guillotine. You got to put all these things together. That's okay. Holland learned that tonight. And Brunson needs to be rewarded. Brunson won this fight from all the hard experiences he had. I bet it felt terrible the night that he beat Anderson Silva and Anderson Silva won the decision. But Brunson learned from that. Now it all paid off. I bet he wouldn't give that. I bet he wouldn't give that snow job decision, the robbery of a decision that was that fight. I bet he wouldn't give it back now. He took something with him. He learned how to close out a fight. He learned that you don't take anything for granted. He learned that you must go out there and win every round. He just won all 5 rounds. He could have kicked it anytime he wanted to and only won 4. Interesting fight. Glad we could watch it together. The more I think of it, I gotta go. Enjoy yourselves.